Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Lights, Camera, Akron. I'm your host, Tyrese West.
And I'm Naquan James, bringing you the latest news in Akron. As the presidential election nears closer, we want to emphasize the importance of voting and the impact it has on our community.
Yes, voting is a very important civic duty for all United States citizens. It can determine the framework of our society for future generations to come. Many people have mixed opinions about voting, and we got to ask some students around campus what their thoughts are. Take a look.
This is Tashayla Davis reporting for ZTV's Lights, Camera, Akron. I am currently standing at the South Hall of the University of Akron getting personal insights on the upcoming presidential election. Are you registered to vote?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
Are you a registered voter?
Mm-hmm.
I am registered to vote. I actually have a ballot that I have to turn in soon. I have to fill it out still, but still weighing some of the issues that I wanted to go over and get my opinion on it.
Yes, I'm registered to vote.
Yes, I am.
I think it is very important because now that we're like the new generation coming up, this is like now our time. So it is very important to see who helps rules us, how it helps us with the economy and everything in general.
Especially this election, I think is very important. Obviously, everyone has their right to vote, and it should be utilized. It should be a, I don't know how to phrase it. It should be something that you want to do. You're furthering your country. You're making your country and community better by putting your input into the government. So I really think it is important to vote.
Voting is really important, especially now. This is a big, important time basically for everyone to vote and get out there and do it. This is going to affect a lot of people, so it's definitely important this year.
I think it's very important because with the way the world is now, we don't want another president that really don't care about its people.
I think it's really important because what's going on now is we need to get it together.
Voting is very important because we are the people now, and we are trying to make it better for the future kids of the generation.
I definitely would see improvement in healthcare because everyone deserves healthcare, and for it to be basically an affordable rate for everyone and available to everybody.
The government to really kind of ease up on the way they're doing things with COVID. I think the whole mask thing is not helping, and if you look at the studies, it really shows.
I want to see better money situations. I want to see more world help, the forest fires and everything. I want more help with that and help the oceans, and I'm all for nature and everything, so I'd like to see that. I would love to see homeless people get a little bit treated better than what they are, especially now that we're in Akron and they're literally everywhere, and schooling and everything. I just want everything to be better, or could be better than what it already has been.
So I want the president to be a strong leader. I want them to be able to motivate the American people and give them an actual plan. Tell us what you're gonna do. How is the country gonna run? What's it gonna be like in a year? What's it gonna be like in 4 years? So I really want to see what is going to happen, not I'm gonna make it better, or this person's gonna make it worse. I really want to see an actual fulfilled plan that we could accomplish.
Rights for everybody, like the LGBTQ community, Black people, everybody who's being oppressed right now.
We setting the tone for the next generation, basically. So if we voting now, the next generation be we can vote as soon as we hit 18 too.
Go vote. Get out and vote. Take a friend. Definitely encourage anyone you know, to get out there and vote.
I just want to say, obviously, go out and vote. Your opinion matters. Don't let anyone make your opinion less or more valuable than what you think it is. So good luck to everyone, obviously, and hopefully the best will be coming for America soon.
I think it's very important that we educate ourselves on the candidates we are voting for. It helps give us the power to make an informed decision on what works best for us.
I think so too. There are new ways to vote in this election, unlike any other, that people just don't know about. We got to talk to some people who work at the Board of Elections to get more information on absentee voting and mail-in voting. Go check it out.
Residents from all across Summit County are here at the Summit County Board of Elections dropping off their ballots for this upcoming election. With days to go until election day, they are making their voices heard. I spoke to one director of the Board of Elections about the importance of voting in this election.
It's the most important thing that they will ever do in their lives.
People are waiting patiently in line for their turn to make their voice heard early before November. Many people have taken advantage of this and are pulling up by the dozens in their cars to cast their votes.
I can't understand how a person would not determine their own life by who they vote for.
This is an important election and will definitely be one for the history books. The Summit County Board of Elections, like many others, offers mail-in ballots as an option to keep people safe during the pandemic. The more people that contribute, the more impact that they will make on the conditions of our nation.
At least you're expressing your will. Without voting, without young people voting, what good is our country?
Many even gathered on street corners to show their support for their pick for president. We spoke to them to get an opinion.
Well, I think everybody who's of age and can lawfully vote should vote. Well, we're out here, peacefully expressing our opinions, just like I would support the other side, doing the same for their candidate. We want to encourage people that, it's okay to express a conservative point of view. If our founding fathers intended for everyone to be involved in the dialogue of how our country is going to be run and everyone to have a voice, our republic doesn't work as it should.
This turnout of voters shows the impact that this election has on the people of Summit County and their belief in their leaders. Tensions have risen amongst supporters of both major political parties as we get closer to Election Day.
We really need to bring all of America. That's my biggest hope. We all need to have a choice, that freedom is really important. I have fears of globalization. I want our country to be independent and strong. I want all people to be risen up, not just some. It seems like we're both getting a little bit mean. I mean, people are driving here and saying, F you, and I say, I love you, because that's the truth.
According to the Summit County Board of Elections polling records, nearly 200,000 votes have been collected and are accumulating day by day since early voting started. It is up to us to decide the direction that we want our city and our country to take, and that is what people are lined up out here today to do. If you plan on voting this upcoming election year with an absentee ballot, make sure you request a ballot 3 days before the election, but you can submit the application at any time. Make sure that if you're planning on sending it in, that it's postmarked before the day of the election. And if you're planning on turning it in person, that you do it before 7:30 p.m. on Election Day. Reporting from the Summit County Board of Elections, I'm Naquan James for ZTV's Lights Camera Akron. I think this will definitely impact the way people will cast their ballots this election season.
I think so too. The turnout has been amazing, one we haven't seen in such a long time. Well, folks, it's about time we take our first commercial break. We'll have more for you when we come back. Stay tuned.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it, so do your part and stay home. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit social gatherings. If you need essential items like food and medicine, try using a delivery service. If you must leave your house for essential items, or if you want to take a walk for exercise, make sure to wear a cloth face covering. Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. Try not to frequently touch surfaces like light signals, street signs, or benches. And wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus, so stay home unless absolutely necessary. Visit Coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Welcome back to Lights, Camera, Akron, everyone. As we call the election to a close, let's talk about the debating process leading up to it.
Yes, it gets pretty heated in those debates as both candidates give their testimony.
Their claims set the stage for their chances at being elected as they build their cases. We spoke to Dr. Natalie Sidorenko, a professor of rhetoric here at UA, to discuss the process.
Let's watch.
All right, it's nice to meet you, Tyrese. For everyone watching, just want to introduce myself quickly. My name is Natalie Sidorenko, and I am an adjunct professor in the School of Communication. This is my 26th year teaching in higher ed. I have a PhD in rhetoric and communication. So I teach argumentation, perfect for debate season, for the School of Communication, along with other courses, intercultural communication, comm theory, public speaking. It's been a challenge this semester to be all online, but it's wonderful to see you in this venue, and we're quite blessed to have technology to be able to continue with our education and our public debates and this election cycle. So even though it's a challenge, I'm definitely grateful for this type of an interface that absolutely did not exist when I was a student, as you are now.
Can you discuss your thoughts on the presidential debate and the process? You know what I mean? How do you think that the candidates prepare for their debates, and what do you think about their delivery as well?
My first thought is that the candidates are not preparing for the debate in the way that they need to. Perhaps Joe Biden is preparing for the debates in a way that I would recommend to my own students. But then once he gets into the debate forum, he is interrupted and he's nervous and he is flustered. And sometimes if your debate opponent capitalizes on that struggle and uses tactics like interruption and like belittling and the use of perpetual fallacies, especially ad hominem attacks, you do attack the claim of the other person. You don't attack the person, but you certainly want to attack and tear down their claims. You want to show that your argument has the comparative advantage in the situation, but not personally attack. I think that Biden is trying to get his points of policy across, and that often he is struggling in articulating those fully, given the rather aggressive debate partner that he has.
Looking at the presidential debate and the vice presidential debate, can you point out some of the logical fallacies that you saw?
One of the logical fallacies that I've seen, unfortunately, from both candidates is ambiguity. The meaning of a word or phrase or passage can be interpreted in different ways and or isn't clear because it's left unsaid. All right. So many times by the moderators, even in the town halls, both candidates have been asked how they're going to handle this coronavirus moving forward. And of course, we have not heard a plan. By that same token, we could say the challenge that Trump has given over the past 6 years, really, or more, to the Affordable Care Act, how he wants to revoke that. And we know that risks people losing their insurance coverage due to pre-existing conditions. Mm-hmm. What is his plan? What is his comprehensive plan? We as citizens deserve to hear that. Hasty generalization is a logical fallacy that has been used over and again, also by the current president. Trump definitely uses loaded language. Mm-hmm. I mean, throughout his entire debate, right?
And it's tough to watch, to say the least. So, as an analyst of rhetoric, how do you think that the president's rhetoric has an effect? Like, what profound effect do you think that it has on his followers, and why do you think that it garners so much positive energy?
I think that Trump is a master of both fear and emotional appeals. Mm. And I think that he uses consistent, vitriolic, and inflammatory rhetoric. His base loves that because they're desperately clinging to this vision that he has sold of I and only I, as a political outsider, am able to make America great. And right now we are more divisive than we've ever been. The pandemic is surging, not declining. Mm-hmm. We have racial upheaval and racial violence on the uptick. Mm-hmm. We have LGBTQ members and women worried about their existing rights and what rights they will have moving forward into the future. So I think that, unfortunately, his inflammatory rhetoric reveals an already existing conflict of values that we have in the United States.
That's all the questions that I have for you today. Once again, it was nice meeting you.
Very nice meeting you, Tyrese. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate your time as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Everyone go vote.
You know, I remember taking an argumentation class, and it taught me a lot about how to argue properly.
I never took an argumentation class, but I learned a lot from that segment.
I did too. I especially liked how she had the ability to apply what she knows while she watched it. Well, it's about time we took our second commercial break. We'll see you when LCA returns. Stick around.
How prepared is your family if disaster shows up at your doorstep? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to Ready.gov/plan before they show up. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes! Make a plan today.
Welcome back, everyone. Many people who have never voted before are participating in this election because it's such a crucial time for us in our country. We also have to remember how important it is to vote in our state and local governments as well.
Yes, we have 3 branches of government, and most people only pay attention to one of them.
I managed to film a tutorial on how to research who's running for office in our county, for those who don't know.
Let's take a look.
Hello all, and welcome. With the general election in November just 2 weeks away, I wanted to give some insight on the officials that will be voted in the upcoming event. It is important that we vote in our state and local government as well as our cities. These are the people who directly impact the structure of our communities and who lay out the framework for how they will progress. The people who represent us in our county and in our city. It is important that we do our research on who is running in our city and determine who will be the best to help us reach our goals and meet our needs. For all intended purposes, I have listed the candidates and their opponents in the order of the position that they are running for. That said, here are all the Summit County 2020 general election candidates, and please forgive me for any mispronunciations. First, we have our representatives of Congress by district. For the 11th district, we have Democrat Marcia Fudge and Republican Laverne Gore. For the 13th district, we have Libertarian Michael Frickel, Republican Christina Hagan, and Democrat Tim Ryan. For the 14th district, we have Republican David P. Joyce, Democrat Hillary O'Connor Murray. For the 16th district, we have Aaron Godfrey, Democrat. Republican Anthony Gonzalez. For the State Board of Education 5th district, we have Christina Collins and Lisa Woods. The Justice of the Supreme Court, Sharon L. Kennedy, John P. O'Donnell, and Judy French. For the 9th District Court of Appeals, we have Julie A. Schaefer and Betty Sutton. For the State Senator of the 28th District, we have Republican Michael Downey Jr., Democrat Vernon Sykes. For the State Representatives by district, starting with the 34th District, we have Democrat Amelia Sykes and Republican Henry Todd. For the 35th District, we have Tavia Golansky, Democrat, and Joy Sarver, Republican. For the 36th District, we have Matt O'Shaughnessy, Democrat, and Bob Young, Republican. For the 37th District, we have Republican Beth Bigham and Casey Weinstein, Democrat. Lastly, the 38th District, and we have Democrat Joe Campbell and Republican Bill Reamer. Next is our Common Pleas Court, with Kelly McLaughlin, Allison McCarty, Mary Rollins, Christine Croce, and Joy Oldfield. Our Summit County Executive Board has Democrat Eileen Shapiro and Republican John E. Chapman. Our Summit County Prosecutor has Democrat Sherry Bovin Walsh and Republican Michael B. Washington. Our Clerk of Common Pleas has Sandra Kurt, Democrat, and Mike Razor, Republican. Our Summit County Sheriff has Shane R. Barker, Republican, and Candy Fothery, Democrat. Our Summit County Fiscal Officer has Jay Eula, Republican, versus Kristen Solis, Democrat. Our Summit County engineer has only one candidate, so we know who's going to win that one. And he's a Democrat, Alan Brubaker. Summit County Council is arranged in districts from 1 to 8. District 1 has Rita Darrow, Democrat, versus Ron Kohler, Republican. 2 has Al Gates, Republican, versus John Schmidt, Democrat. 3 has Louis Barreltaran, Democrat, versus Gloria Rogers, Republican. 4, again, only has one candidate. He's Democrat Jeff Wilhite. 5 has Veronica Sims, Democrat, versus Rick Wilson, Republican. 6 has Jerry E. Freeman, Democrat, versus Tyler Roberts, Republican. 7 has Bob Ginnett, Democrat, versus Bethany McKinney, Republican. And 8 has Anthony DeVitis, Republican, versus Paula Pretense, Democrat. Home stretch, everyone. Juvenile Court Judge Linda Tucci Tiosdio. Domestic Relations Judge Christina Cook and Kari Hightower. Probate Court Judge Eleanor Marsh Storman. And finally, the City of Hudson Council at Large has 3 candidates: Nicole Kowalski, Sharif Minswar, and Sarah Norman. It's a lot of homework to do, you guys. All this information was found at summitcountyboe.gov, senate.gov, and house.gov. For more information on voting, candidates, or the election in general, all the information you need you can find on these 3 sites. Voting is an important civic duty for every American citizen. I implore everyone to go out and vote. Your voice matters and it should be heard. Please use this information to do your research and continue to inspire others to vote as well, so that their voices can be heard too. I'm Tyrese West, reporting for Lights, Camera, Akron. Thanks for watching.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Hey guys, today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Give kisses. Give kisses. Look. Give kisses. Give kisses. You heard how loud that was.
I know, I
Stick
heard,
to that.
I heard. It wasn't you.
Yeah.
It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Bacon.
I hope that helped give you all a bit more info on the local elections that are coming up too.
I know I learned something for sure.
Thanks, Naquan. Our government has a very specific way they regulate power. It's an interesting thought that each state, county, and city have their own subsequent government. UA has a program where students can learn about political science. I spoke with Dr. David Cohen, the director of the Bliss Institute, to see what students at UA learned from the program. Take a look. The Ray C. Bliss Institute at UA recruits students who are studying law and applied politics. I talked to Dr. Cohen virtually to get his insights.
Good morning. My name is Tyrese West. I'm the producer of Lights, Camera, Akron. It is so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I understand that you're the interim director of the Bliss Institute here at the University of Akron. Can you tell us exactly what the Bliss Institute does here on campus?
Sure, we do a few things. Our mission is to educate University of Akron students in the field of politics, provide internship opportunities for them to be able to get that kind of applied experience in the area of politics. And also, we have some academic programs. We've got an undergraduate and a graduate certificate in applied politics and a master's in applied politics. If you're a student, you're interested in politics, consider being a political science major or maybe a political science minor. We also, for undergraduates, we have an undergraduate certificate in applied politics, which is a great way to take some very specific classes that'll help increase the students' knowledge about the political world and campaigns and elections.
Dr. Cohen elaborates more on the political process.
Why do you think it's important for students, especially young students, students and young people, to understand the political process, especially now?
Whether you're interested in politics or not, whether you understand politics or not, politics and the political system impacts every aspect of your life. So whether you're paying attention or not, what happens in our political system has an impact. And I think 2020 is the perfect example of this. Where right now the country and the world is going through a global public health pandemic with COVID-19. All these things are impacted by our political system and the decisions that elected officials at every level of government, whether it be local, state, or federal, those decisions impact the lives of everyday people, including all of the students and the staff at the University of Akron.
You also teach about Homeland Security, right?
I do.
So can you tell me a little bit about how the pandemic is a Homeland Security threat, right? And what it means for Summit County to be like in the red, like a red area, you know what I mean? And how severe that threat is.
Being in the red is not good. A pandemic, a public health emergency like we're going through is absolutely a Homeland Security issue. And any time that the American public is at risk, whether it be, their health or their safety in some other way, it's considered part of Homeland Security. And thankfully, we're as the months move on, we're getting closer and closer to a potential vaccine. We're also learning much more about how the disease works. And scientists, public health experts, medical doctors, nurses, they're learning much more about how to effectively treat people who have COVID-19 as well. Being, red and, hopefully not purple, we pay attention to this every day because, it shows basic trends of where the state is going. And it allows government officials, allows university officials, school officials, all people to be able to plan more effectively if we know which direction the state or the county is going.
We even spoke about issues facing the U.S. that will soon be the new president's responsibility.
No matter who wins, what are your expectations for the government? What do you want to see them improve on, whether it's Donald Trump's administration or Joe Biden's administration? What is something like a unified goal that you want to see as a progression in America?
I think we have a tremendous amount of problems in this country that have to be addressed. The cost of healthcare, the wage gap. I think the shrinking middle class, the cost of education. I think we've got a planet that's literally on fire right now. So there are so many things that need to be addressed, and unfortunately, we have a political system that doesn't operate very fast, and so. That's going to be the challenge. If you have a new president that's going to try and take on those issues, how do you get the legislative and executive branches working together to address the big problems of our day? That we have had record early voting turnout across the country, but the fact that there are people that are willing to wait that long to exercise their right to vote, to me, means that change is coming. That to me shows that it's not just about voting, it's about putting pressure on your elected officials and holding them accountable.
It was nice seeing you today. Thank you so much for your time.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Well, it looks like that's all the time that we have for today's episode.
Make sure to like us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, double tap into our posts on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at CTV LCA for the latest.
I'm Tyrese West.
And I'm Naquan James.
And thank you so much for watching. Lights, Camera, Akron.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. Do you want to gain experience in video production, professional social media, or working with real clients? Visit the UA School of Communications online or follow us on social media to learn more. ZTV, make media, make a difference.